Good morning. I don't know about your morning, but it's blustery here. We're in the middle of a thunderstorm warning, and there's lightning and all kinds of excitement this morning.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll keep power. If it turns dark, I guess we'll be talking to you in the dark.
Yeah. Ooh, nice flash right there. So today we're talking about freedom this month. It's July, of course, so freedom is the theme.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about sort of physical or freedom, then we talked about mental, emotional freedom. Today we're going to talk about spiritual freedom. And, you know, freedom is a charged word in many ways. So remember, the slogan, freedom is not free, that's true. And we certainly need that physical freedom and all that business. But we're talking about something subtly different today, spiritual freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So, spiritual freedom, how would you define that?
I would define spiritual freedom as a sense of trusting in the unknown, letting go. I have a mantra, a little meditation that I do that just says, Elizabeth, let go. Elizabeth, let go. And there's a lot of other stuff that goes into that meditation, but that's like mounting up to that theme is just letting go, trusting, being present in the moment. Because, we come up against things that are really hard and we want to control them. Or maybe we just want to control things and you don't realize how tight you are from trying to control everything in your life. And you really have the illusion of control. We have little control. We have control over our response to things. We have control over, not reacting, but taking that breath, pausing before we respond to somebody that is maybe stirring something in us, or responding to ourselves internally about something that's stirring within us. So for me, spiritual freedom means trusting, letting go. And this is really like a perfect time to talk about it. We just came off of a week-long conference/retreat, and it was all based around meditation and trust. And so I just had to laugh a little bit this morning when we kind of thought it was, what's next week that we're talking about?
Social.
Yeah, social. We were like, why didn't we put spiritual last? But I think it's because, we just kind of knew that without even planning it, that this is coming right off of this retreat that we went to. Yeah. So it's still really fresh in our minds and hopefully stays in our minds. So what does this spiritual freedom mean to you since I went on my little
Well, that was beautiful. First of all, that was beautiful. I like to think of the spirit as being between the stimulus and the response. You get triggered, something happens, boom, right in that little space between your stimulation, whatever triggered you, and the response. That's your spirit. Mm-hmm. And if you can exercise presence within that space, then a more compassionate and wise response will result, right? In other words, I always say that you wouldn't become emotional about something you didn't care about. Mm-hmm. If you care deeply about something, is the best response to fly off the handle and get pissed, or to, sink inside yourself and be reclusive because you're, whatever emotions are happening? Or is it to pause, and a pause can be a millisecond. It doesn't have to be a month. It could be a millisecond. Pause and consider the fact that you care deeply about this. So now that I understand on a more conscious level, that I deeply understand about this, what is a more wise and compassionate response to whatever's happening at that moment? And I think that, to me, and it requires bravery, right? It requires courage, because sometimes speaking your truth steps outside of what people expect of you or what you think other people expect of you. But telling the truth as you see it is important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you think about your day-to-day and things that unfold, what would it feel like to trust in the process instead of always trying to manage it? and I'm kind of speaking at myself here, so sorry if it seems like I'm speaking to you like that, but you know, I often think of that, like, Elizabeth, just trust this process, this obstacle. The obstacle is the way. You know, it's a challenge. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
And spirit is, for me, and he was talking about in between stimulus and response, and that was like, I was like, yes. I have a little bit of a different word for it. It's the stillness. It's that stillness center in between. You know, be still, and then you can feel it. And again, going back to my breath, I always seem to go back to my breath, because my breath is how I balance or manage my autonomic nervous system. It really can reset me within a few breaths before I start to go on the spiral of whether it's my internal mental spiral. Maybe it's...
I thought she was hyperventilating, but she was just trying to control her autonomic state because I made her mad.
Yeah. So and sometimes you can do a nice, really circular breath where you're like... Think about it, ladies. Like if you're in labor, kind of like... not like... But it does. It balances you, and that's why, you know, in Lamaze, they teach you that breathing, because I'm already getting like a little bit of that lightheaded, tingling feeling just from doing a few of those. But when you're really worked up, if you're in the spot where you can do that, or maybe it doesn't matter if you're in the spot, it's better than responding or reacting, that really just, boom, resets.
Yeah. I think, you know, your breath is the obvious place where your conscious mind and subconscious mind meet. You know, normally your breathing is autonomic, right? It's subconscious, as is your heart rate and your digestion and all these things. And it's not so easy. You kind of have to be a pretty well-trained yogi to like slow down your heart, or, you know, do all these other autonomic things. But all of us have the ability to just take a deep breath and hold it, or breathe fast or breathe slow, or do whatever we want with our breath, because it's the place where the conscious and the subconscious meet. So that breath, I think, can be really important and really centering.
Yeah. And if you can find a few quiet moments, or a nice long quiet moment where you can sit with yourself, take some breaths. Maybe set an intention before. Ask yourself, like, where am I feeling resistance, or where am I experiencing resistance that I'm not even aware of? And really sit with that. And then next, what can I do about that resistance? Is there something I can do proactive, or is it just maybe trusting in the process and just letting go?
Yeah. This idea of trusting in the process, I think, is important to think about, because, you know, well, how's it going to get done if I don't get it done? If I'm not in control of it, if I'm not managing every nanosecond of it? Well, that's not trusting, right? And it's a relaxation. It's like there's a difference between I got to get it done, I got to get it done, I got to get it done, and I am doing it. I am doing it. Because all that, I'm getting it done, I'm getting it done, I'm getting it done, that's not helping you get it done.
No. Like that, his energy from doing that kind of gave me the, I was like, okay, he's just, yeah, it gave me kind of, I could feel I'm not getting it done, because I was doing that this morning. I felt it starting, like okay, I have to do this. I have to get out the door in 5 minutes. I have this person asking me a question, and then I was just like, it will all get done, Elizabeth. And it will get done better if you can take a few deep breaths and, you know, relax into that process. Just relax into the process. I started piling my things in a pile so I wouldn't forget anything. And then I made my way out the door. And I made it here probably in less time than if I had been running around like a crazy person. And had to turn around
and get something we
forgot.
forgot.
I forgot this. Do I have this? Did I pack this? When I put it all in a pile so I could see it as I was putting it all in my bag, and it was amazing.
There you go. It was amazing.
It was, because when you start your day, when you're like, you know, oh, I have to do all this, and oh my gosh, and I could be thinking about all the things I have to do today because I was gone for a week, and I've seen my emails. There's hundreds to go through, and it's like, oh, see? I'm already winding up again.
So one way to view it is no vacation will go unpunished. It wasn't really a vacation. When you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do a 5.5 hour meditation, you might think, oh, it's a meditation retreat. Yeah, try getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and meditating for 5.5 hours and tell me that that was a vacation, right?
It was wonderful.
This was, it was absolutely wonderful, but this was serious inner work. And really a beautiful conference, a beautiful opportunity.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, you could think of it like, oh my God, I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. But you know what happened? Collectively, we said, we get to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, there was this energy in the room. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the last day, we're our second to last day. He says, "What time will we be here? 6 a.m. Why? Because we want to."
Yep. And we got up at 5 this morning to
continue
reflect in the process. Yeah, and that's part of that personal spiritual freedom. It's going inward and really finding those areas and breathing into them and trusting in the process, trusting in the unknown and letting go. So kind of a thought for the week. What would personal freedom look like for you? If you thought about it as not something you fought for, but something you softened into and allowed to unfold.
Yeah. There's sort of a difference between
and we're talking about personal freedom here, so please listen to that word personal before you.
Yeah, that's why I started by saying freedom is a charged word, especially in our current political climate.
We're talking about internal.
We're talking about
the
internal
one thing you
freedom.
can control, guys, is your internal.
The one and only thing you can control, and even that control is a bit of an illusion.
Yep, sometimes it controls you, but awareness is the key to, just sometimes letting those thoughts go or letting them have their little tangent. And then when they realize you're only listening and you're not responding, they kind of go away in that silent, that core silence that we talked about, or that stillness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, we've talked a little bit longer than we normally do, just a few minutes, but this is obviously a subject that we're passionate about, and I'm very passionate about.
Seems like most of the videos we're doing, we're pretty passionate about. We always go longer than we meant to.
We have like a 10-minute goal, and it's always like, it's getting close to 15 minutes. I'm sure we lost most of you.
And you can push that button.
I will.
Okay.
I was still talking.
That's okay. Talk as much as you want.
All right, guys. Well, we'd love to hear your comments. We'd love to hear, what do you do to help create that sense of personal freedom? Because this is a collective. We aren't the experts here. We're just, kind of igniting the conversation. So please share with us your wisdom. We each carry our own wisdom, and we love when you share that.
You know what would make an incredible community? If you posted and then you came back and read other people's posts and posted something that post stirred in you. Not advice, not telling them how to do it better, but something that their post stirred in you.
Or
resonated.
Yeah.
That, if you did that to two people and you posted your own, this would become a giant, vibrant community of people with interest in these topics.
Community. I know some of you have probably heard, we are going to start an online community.
Based in that kind of idea. A safe place to share, because Facebook isn't always a safe place, a feeling of sharing. I mean, we've seen the comments that sometimes come out at people, and we just want it to be like when you're reading the comments, you're reading them to be inspired, not to see the next nasty thing that was said or the next thing that was said to stir that pot. We want the comments to be like, yes, or, just that feeling of connection, the feeling of, just really, it's the only word I can think of, just love, loving other people. Yeah.
All right, well.
Love, pure consciousness. Pure, undifferentiated consciousness is love.
All right. Well, I suppose that's a good place to stop. You guys all have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Monday. But if you have something that's on your heart or you want to share, please do so. Even if you just want to share it in a private message, it still keeps the conversation going, and we'll try to get back to all those. All right. Have a great week.